All right, Cage.
I'm trying to think what else I got for you. I'm a little angry.
Cage Belichick, put on your headset. First day of free agency, you open up the checkbook and what is it, 200 million? That's how much the Patriots have brought in contracts in the first, 4 hours of free agency? What are you trying to do here? You're a little bit annoyed that Tom Brady showed you up this year, huh?
Yeah, but didn't they re-sign Cam Newton?
I don't know. Belichick, you tell me.
I'm pretty sure they did. I think they re-signed. Yeah, well, I'm a Raiders guy. What does that mean? So I'm pretty sure they re-signed Cam Newton. That team's only going to go as far as Cam takes him. And, you saw last year Cam's not taking him too far unless Cam's going to be the backup. Listen, there's moves to be made, man. Actually, it's a great segue into the play. Guys, I didn't know Andrew was going to start off with this fun stuff, but, people are going to start to look a little bit about football. But football it's the forgotten sport right now. Right, baseball's. I just watched a Yankee game. It was spring training, and Aaron Hicks had like a headpiece in, and he was talking to Michael Kay and John Sterling during the game, catching a fly ball, which would never happen unless you're Jose Altuve. Most baseball players are not allowed to wear electronics during the game, but I guess in spring training and in Astros games they allow it. But people are watching baseball. Basketball is really heating up. Everybody's all over Top Shot. Everybody's going nuts. And football is the forgotten thing. So it's cool that you started off with football. My play today is it's doubling down on something we already told you guys with the combination of the PSA prices and no one looking at football. You can find PSA rookies real cheap. And one where I will tell you to look is one I gave one of my first plays ever, but it's because of free agency contract rumors that I see swirling around Twitter today. It's my good friend DJ Chark, who is a receiver for the
You're going back
Jaguars.
to the well, Cage. You're going back to the well.
Yeah, because right before we jumped on here today, there's rumors abound all over the place that he's going to be Lamar Jackson's number one target and potentially move over to the Ravens, which is very different from a hobby and football and, dare I say, cardboard relevance than playing for the lowly Jaguars, where Gardner Minshew is throwing you the ball, and maybe this year it'd be Trevor Lawrence. Who knows? But the point is, you look at somebody like that, and that's a person who I'm going to be looking to put money in right now for this coming season, because if he's traded to somebody like the Ravens, come on now, that's new lease on life. But even if he's not, his quarterback is going to be the one getting all the hype, all the ESPN, and all the other fun stuff, right? So you don't have to buy DJ Chark. I'm giving you him as an example of where to look. Look at football. Look at guys who have, they're coming off of a down year, or guys who are coming off a good year. But the play really is a play on PSA's increased prices, and you don't know how that's going to impact yet, but you can still, we talked about this with Miles Sanders the last time I brought this, but you can get PSA 10s of good rookies now for the price of a normal PSA submission, the $50.
Do you think that it eventually will play itself out? So like with PSA prices going, from basically 20 to sub to 100, any halfway decent player in a PSA 10, do you think that's a $75 card no matter what in a year?
I mean, it's going to work out one way or the other. You might just have less PSA 10s of people, and because of that, you're going to have increased prices because the population's not going to be there. I mean, I'm curious when they come out, like Joe Adell, people got in on the Topps flagship early enough that they beat the pricing and got in a bunch of Joe Adells. So there will be a few of them, but somebody like me who has 6 or 8 Joe Adell cards sitting here in my basement that I would normally send in the next bulk sub I send in, I'm not going to send them in. I know I'm not the only one. I think what you might see is the price of those things go up twofold. One, because for two reasons. Number one, because it now costs so much money to friggin' grade the damn thing. But two, you might see less of them grading. You might see less of them being graded.
It certainly intuition says that, right? Like I remember Gavin Lux, right? He's a prospect, he hasn't done anything, but his cards were like $40, $50 at one
Still
point.
Are. Yep.
Still are. And
yeah, man, Kyle Lewis. So I'm going to get back.
People are into those so cheap, but once we have a full cycle, how that won't be possible, right? Because the cost of the grading, you're already in a loss.
Or people are going to start losing money. Think of it like, everybody hates Top Shot, right? But eventually those packs are going to be losing money. But people are still going to be buying them, not realizing that they're losing money. Eventually, people are going to stop buying those packs because the $9 packs are going to only get you $6 back, and people are going to stop doing it. I think, if you believe PSA and they're trying to avoid that junk slab era, this is part of their reason why they're doing what they're doing, right? Not every card should be graded according to, the experts and the Justice League of the hobby. Not every card should be graded. But yeah, I mean, dude, look, I got a sub that I sent in July of last year.
July.
They claim they got it in August, but that they didn't start. So it was received in August, but they didn't log it in until October. So I guess by all rights, I should not be complaining because the complete through dates are only to July now. So the fact that this is October, I'm in quality assurance 1 as of this morning, QA 1. So at any time, I can get the grades on this.
That's exciting.
It's got 43 Kyle Lewis top flagship rookies from when we started this. I talked about this the other day. This was like my play. Like I gave everybody a week to buy Kyle Lewis, and then I was buying them after everybody had their chance, and then I put them all into a PSA sub. So I look today. You know what the last one sold for in PSA 10? Like $44.
Wow.
If you try to grade that now, it's $50 to grade it regular. So that's that is one of those things that push is going to have to come to shove in the hobby. But I'm talking football. Look at football. Look at those guys. Look at the skill
position. Surprised you didn't
guys.
touch on the Jonnu Smith signing. If there's one thing Belichick loves, it's a good tight end. So I'm not.
That sounds dirty.
How does that sound dirty? He loves tight end.
How do you know Belichick likes tight ends?
You're so dumb.
Yeah, I guess. But Jonnu Smith, he's a damn good tight end too. He is very, very good. That is a skilled offensive weapon.
And I'll say, Cam.
He took it away from one of his rivals, one of his a team they would have to probably go through in the AFC too. So
Cam is so inaccurate with his throws, but that's going to be an interesting dynamic. But I'm reading here, Cam's not promised the starting job. I wouldn't be surprised if Belichick makes some moves for quarterback, but even if he doesn't, what's great about a tight end is it's just a big target to throw to, right? So Cam isn't accurate, but you don't have to be super accurate if you just have I remember Antonio Gates, right, with Phillip Rivers. He would run routes, just turn around, and he's such a big body. You throw it anywhere in his vicinity, he'll grab it. Cage, that's not my play. Are you a college basketball guy? Do you even know?
I enjoy the tournament. I watched the selection show. I noticed the NIT was a little contracted, less teams in it this year. I watched the NCAA selection show. I've seen some, potential history being made in Gonzaga going into it undefeated. I don't think there's been an undefeated team since the mid 70s. I think the year before I was born was the last time a team, went into and finished an undefeated season. So it's been a while. Obviously, you're talking like 100, 150 years there. But yeah, listen, that is the coolest time for sports. And I'm not a fan of any college team. But we were talking yesterday. So the Georgetown, the Hoyas, 13-12, won the Big East, and they won it going away. I mean, nice to see Ewing. I'm a big Ewing fan. Go back to his alma mater and win one in the Garden. With his jersey hanging above him while he wins the Big East tournament. That was a cool thing for them. I did go to St. John's. So it would have been nice. They were a decent team this year. Some would say a bubble team. But yeah, I mean, I definitely love watching. There's no sporting day like the first round of the NCAA tournament, especially if you're a sports bettor. It's just nonstop.
Last question, I'll get right into my play.
Yep.
What's more surprising? Your Charlotte Hornets sitting at 19-18 in 6th in the East, or the Houston Rockets are in the midst of a 16-game losing streak?
So it's very difficult to lose 16 straight games in the NBA, right? Because you got to figure you're gonna have a good night on the same night that you catch somebody who's having a piss poor night. Especially this is a team that made a trade. They went out and got Victor Oladipo. They do have some legitimate players. You'd figure on one night they'd catch a team on a back-to-back, especially this year. Remember the home and homes where teams were not covering home court advantage as well because of those back-to-back games. I think I saw a stat, the Hornets have 8 back-to-backs coming up.
Wow.
The Spurs had something like 33 games in 69 days or so, some crazy, stats, like that, because they're crunching the season down. So I think that's more surprising. I mean, you said the Hornets were going to be a playoff team, a high playoff team in the beginning of the year. I did not buy it. I still don't buy them as
without a center. They have a bald man as their center, or someone who's balding. That's even worse. Cody Zeller.
I mean, he's a serviceable center, and he had a broken hand for first month of the year. But
He looks like an NFT programmer.
It just shows you. I mean, that's not you got a team that's one game over 500, and there are a lot of teams that seem to be right around 500 that are struggling for that. In the mix of the potential playoff team, bottom of it, like the Knicks. Like everyone's excited about the Knicks because they're not garbage. They were a game over 500 the other day too, and then they lost. But I mean, are you really excited about being 500? I guess when you've been as bad as the Knicks and the Hornets have been for as long as they've been, it's good to be mediocre. For basketball, the things that have caught me recently are how good some of the youngsters have looked. We talk about this draft class, and I've been critical of it myself, and some of our listeners have really given us a hard time, right? You included. They've kind of come out and said, hey, stop shitting on this draft class. Me too. We get DMs about it. LaMelo looks fantastic. But if you're watching basketball, it's hard not to be impressed by both Wiseman and Edwards. I mean, Edwards is the real deal, man. He had a legit game last night. I mean, forget about all the highlight reel dunks, right? I think he had 6 3-pointers. He had 34 points, I think. And he was basically down. I like his swag, right? I like his swag. He's funny. He was basically jawing at and going basket for basket with Dame Lillard last night, which is somebody you don't want to do that with. But it was anybody's game until the last couple minutes, and it was just, okay, Edwards is going to drive, or Edwards going to pull up for a 3, and then Lillard came down. I was like, okay, I'm going to hit a 3 now, and it was definitely impressive to see somebody that young, basically in that type of a back and forth with clearly one of the perennial MVP candidates.
I would agree, he's very likable, he's very swaggy, he's very charismatic, and even when he kind of talks that talk, like he has a smile on his face, so it's, the team likes it.
But I was impressed by his game.
He's got a lot of potential, but he's not a good shooter right now. He's not a good shooter.
I mean, that's what was impressive about it last night. So he can finish around the rim, man. And if his shot falls the way that it was falling last night, he's going to be a very good player. I'm not saying all-time great, but the point there being that the top of the draft class there, that's 3, and Wiseman was given some legit minutes last night and finishing around the rim. He's still more of a project. Right. Remember, he only played a couple of games, but I mean, on the pick and roll switch defense, he's like lunging at guys. Mike Conley put him on skates last night. I mean, like he lunged at Conley out by like the 3-point line, and Conley was past him before you could say Wiseman looks like a fool. And I mean, just like an uncontested layup. I mean, Conley is very good, obviously, but you can tell there are areas of the game that these youngsters need to work on. But we talk about how this is a crappy class and don't buy the Prism basketball. It's overpriced. Some of these guys might turn out to be some legit players. But
let's have some fun, GM Cage.
Yep.
You get a chance to redraft Wiseman, Melo, Edwards. What's your order?
Yeah, man. So I was pissed at 3 getting LaMelo. I wanted Wiseman. And now, obviously, I'm not, as a Hornets fan, I'm not upset because, LaMelo has played really well. Devontae Graham was injured and has, turned back into the pumpkin that he was, borderline G League player. You
got to cut him some slack. He's not very tall or athletic.
Well, so he's turned into back what he's supposed to be, I guess, right? The dance is over for Cinderella. The clock struck midnight. He turned back into a pumpkin. He is what he is. So
fair enough.
So I still would say that the draft is fair. I mean, I don't think any of the 3 teams who drafted would change their pick. Like as good as LaMelo's been, I don't think if you draft again, I don't think Minnesota goes and takes LaMelo. I think Edwards probably has a higher ceiling. And Wiseman, who's a project, that team does not need a LaMelo ball on it, that Warriors team. So I think the draft still falls the same 1, 2, 3.
Do you think the Warriors could have used Edwards?
I think Edwards still goes 1. This year the Warriors could use Edwards because I think they're actually overperforming what people thought they were going to do. I think people thought they were going to be complete trash after Clay got hurt. They're a little bit better than that, and I think Edwards is more of a polished player now. So yes, I think if you're talking about like wins and losses this season, I think Edwards probably would have been a better pick for them. But, listen, I think it's Minnesota's pick that they have still. I think they have a draft pick from Minnesota in this coming draft. They being Golden State Warriors from the Wiggins trade, I think, right? It's only protected to 3. I think Minnesota has the worst record in the NBA, but you never know with basketball who's going to get what pick and whatnot. But if Minnesota pick falls out of the top 3, which, a couple teams, if Houston keeps losing, it's not that difficult to think of it happening. If Minnesota has the 4th pick, Golden State gets it. So you could have the Warriors next year getting pick number 4 in the draft, have Clay coming back, Draymond, Steph, Wiseman, and some other, top flight rookie as well. I mean, Golden State could get right back into the thick of things pretty quickly. So,
what's coming out this summer, Cage?
I forgot about Wiggins. What's coming out?
Wiggins is Wiggins. Space Jam, right? The Space Jam with LeBron.
I don't know, man. That I have not followed that because, like everything else, it's a sequel, and sequels are not as good as the original, which is exactly why LeBron is doing a Michael Jordan sequel, because he's not as good as the original. Never will be. So I really
and that's exactly what my play is today. So
sequels.
This is a fun one, and not a sequel.
Lethal Weapon 2?
The original. One of my favorite cards. I don't even know if you could call this a card. It's like those Michael Jordan cards with the Looney Tunes. You know what I'm talking about?
Space Jam cards. Yep.
Space Jam cards, exactly. It's like on very thin paper, and they're not the best to grade, but they're fun. And so I go on eBay today, and I'm like, let's bring a fun play. Yesterday I brought the Luca Nation 3 money-making plays. Today I wanted to go a different route, right? I want to have some fun. I love Space Jam. I noticed Space Jam's on Netflix, and you can't watch Space Jam enough. And I'm like, how much these stickers have to be? Like $20-$30 a piece. I go on and I see the packs, Cage, and there's 2 different types of packs. Okay, but the one I want to bring to you guys is a $5 pack. It's the 1996 Space Jam 6 sticker sealed pack, Michael Jordan, for $6.
Wow.
That's cool. How many packs do you get these days that are like $5-$6 with iconic people inside?
None.
So,
and I mean, you don't get much more iconic than Bugs Bunny. So you're getting Bugs Bunny, man. Daffy Duck. It's iconic to the max. Porky Pig.
This is a different play than my usual ones, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. So I think there are cards also. So what Andrew's bringing you are the stickers, which is pretty cool. I mean, you've done well grading stickers too. So, you're not shying away from stickers.
They're gaining popularity, but I actually wouldn't even open the pack until summer because I could see these packs having the same type of effect as the Harry Potter,
Mm-hmm.
Because they're $6. Why couldn't a pack go to 25? When the Space Jam's going on and you just sell the pack.
Definitely can.
So
I'm sure they're going to have some cards for. They'll probably have some cards for the new movie too. Mm-hmm. So people will look for more cards for the old one. It's a cool deal. I've looked at these myself. There's some cool stuff in these.
Plug them off. It's like, why? I'm not going to grade them. But if you're in the market for something fun and cheap, I mean, this is pretty cool. You get iconic, cheap, and fun. So that it checks all the boxes for me. There's also this thing called the 1996 Upper Deck Space Jam Hobby Pack.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the cards. Those are Upper Deck licensed. I don't believe the stickers are Upper Deck.
No.
So
that's cool. So it's funny though, guys. Don't buy a ton of these. Don't buy boxes of them and send them to your PWCC vault and hope that you'll be able to sell them from there. It's a lesson I learned over the last week. After I gave you guys the Harry Potter play, it's funny you bring it up. I went out after giving you guys a week of time to go and buy your own. I went out and I bought a case of Harry Potter stickers, 24 boxes, 50 stickers per. And I had them sent to the PWCC vault, figuring, I'll have them, log them in as 24 separate boxes, and I'll sell them. I'll sell them off a box here, 2 boxes here, a box there.
Your loyalty is your downfall, Mr. Cage Lawyer.
So what do you think they told me?
They said you cannot pass go. You do not collect $200. We keep the boxes, and we're charging you a vault.
So close. So it took them like nearly a month to log them in and get them logged in and curated or whatever it's going to be. But then I noticed I couldn't list them. I thought maybe it was because they just logged it in as one single case instead of what I asked, which was log it in as 24 boxes so that I could sell off a box here, a box there. But that's not what it was. I guess the case came open, which is weird because I bought a sealed case, and they claim that they only sell, in their auction marketplace, they only sell factory sealed cases or graded cards. So because this is a case that's open, even though the boxes are sealed, it's something they can't sell. So now it's sitting in my vault after a vault fee for literally no reason. I have to go and ship them somewhere else now.
You have to fly to Oregon and pick it up.
I gotta go to Oregon.
We'll take a week off the show. We'll make it happen.
Well, listen, my mistake at PwC might become our listening audience's benefits. Anybody want a case? Anybody? Should we do a break? What should we do with these? Anybody want some Harry Potter stickers? Let me know.
I only want Hermione Granger.
Yeah, I know you do. If you said that a couple of years ago, it would have been bad. But nowadays, completely legal.
She's a smart gal.
She's a smart gal. Hermione Granger is a smart gal. Yes, she is, but she's a muggle.
Aren't we all? We're all just trying to do our best as we wallow through this life of wizardry.
This is very true. So, speaking of which, what of the 4 major houses do you think you'd be in? Because I'm putting you in Hufflepuff. If I'm the Sorting Hat, you're a Hufflepuff.
I just know I'm not Slytherin because I'm not Slythery.
Right, so you're not like evil. Okay.
Slythery is not evil. Slithery is Slithery. Like, Kevin Durant is not evil. He's just Slithery. Like, I'm going to go slide into your 3-1 team. That doesn't make him a bad person.
So you think Kevin Durant's is in the Slytherin house? Nice.
Yes, he like absolutely is.
Okay, I can see that. What's LeBron in? LeBron have to be in Gryffindor with Harry Potter?
What's the other one after? So it's
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw. Oh.
Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, Slytherin, and Gryffindor. You're thinking about this way too much, but it's okay. Dude, you're in like a trance trying to figure out what house from Harry Potter to put LeBron in.
I wanted to give your question the respect that it deserves.
Why? I never do that for you. Just answer. All right, guys. Well, listen, as Andrew ponders which house from Harry Potter we should put LeBron in, and I just say he's no matter what house you put him in, he's going to wear the Sorting Hat. This way you don't look at his balding head. We remind you of our picks for today, which is Andrew's got some Space Jam stickers, which is a cool play. And if it's the right one, it's not just Jordan in there. People forget Charles Barkley was in that. Bill Murray, Larry Bird was in the movie. Larry Johnson, whose birthday I think it is today, Grandmama, Muggsy Bogues, Patrick Ewing, Sean Bradley, who holds the distinction of being the Darko Milicic of my generation. Everybody says Darko because remember he was picked between LeBron and Carmelo. Sean Bradley was the one picked between Penny Hardaway and Chris Webber. He was the number 2 pick in the 1994 draft between Penny Hardaway and Chris Webber. And you're like, Sean Bradley, what the hell is that?
Chris Webber, someone who was incredibly good, and he doesn't get brought up in like I don't want to call him GOAT, but he's definitely a Hall of Famer and probably top 20 player of all time, right?
I don't know about 20. He never really did much. He never really took a team, far in the playoffs. And it's a shame because the moment that he's known for the most in his career is calling the timeout when he didn't have one in college. I mean, there's no signature moment for him in his NBA playing career, which makes it hard to call somebody a top player of all time. He was great. I loved him. The worst thing that happened for him is he came out the year after Shaq. So he was overshadowed, but I mean that Fab Four, Michigan, that was a vibe, man. That was.
What about that? The Kings team. That Kings team was all time.
Kings team was good. Peja
with Jason Williams, Chris Webber. Who do they have? Doug Christie was he on that team?
Yep. Doug Christie was on the team.
And Vlade
Divac. They were a good team.
I'm a huge Kobe fan. You guys know that, but if you guys go back, I think it's a Game 6 of I can't remember if it was 2000 or which finals, but you could look it up. There was some really questionable calls to get the Lakers that win. That was an interesting game.
So Webber,
Tim Donahue, that the ref that got caught cheating and gambling.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say that game was the beginning of a lot of the beginning of all the scandals.
So you think one of the Kobe championships is tainted?
No, I don't want to put that on Kobe. Like that's on the refs for making bad calls.
On purpose.
Yes, but it's not like I don't think Kobe was the one that incentivized them to make the calls inappropriately. I think the gamblers were the ones that incentivized it.
The gamblers. So who else? Who else was a crazy number 2 pick? Sam Bowie. Seems like there's one every decade. So you have the Greg Oden pick over Durant, but that's a 1/2. But it seems like there's a 1 and a 3 that are really good, and there's a 2 sandwich in between. You had the shot. Glenn Robinson Sr. was number 1 with Grant Hill number 3, but Jason Kidd was 2, so you can't really say that was a problem. But the best one of all time, so we're talking now of LeBron with Darko and Carmelo. So Darko's pretty damn terrible. Sean Bradley, who was picked by the 76ers between Penny Hardaway and Chris Webber. But back in the 80s, I think it was the 84 draft, 83 draft. Yes, because Ewing was drafted in 84 for the 85 season. So pick number 1, Hakeem Olajuwon. Can't fault that, right? Twin Towers, college beast, top player of all time, great player. Pick number 2 to the Portland Trailblazers, Sam Bowie. Big time college player center. So Olajuwon pick 1, Sam Bowie pick 2. Do you remember who pick 3 was?
Clyde the Glide?
No, but Clyde the Glide comes into this equation. He was picked the year before by Portland, which is why Portland took Sam Bowie and passed on Michael Jordan, who was pick number 3. So, yeah, Sam Bowie, I'm a decent NBA player, probably better NBA player than Sean Bradley and Darko Milicic were. But it seems like every decade there's a pick number 2 and pick number 3 makes them pay for it. So
I don't know who. I think Jay Williams on ESPN was talking about this, and it was a pretty interesting point that we don't think about. It's kind of the hidden or the micro competition within competition. And he always says, like, when Zion's playing Ja, he needs to have that mindset of, hey, I was the number 1 pick, you were number 2, and when we play, let it be clear that I will always be the number 1 and you're the number 2. And you don't think about that, but that kind of within your class, competition's actually more important than it seems. You've always heard that famous line by Draymond Green, right? He knows every single player drafted before him. So that's cool. That's cool. I like that we're going down this trip down memory lane, Cage.
Yeah, because there's a lot of them, right? Aaron Rodgers, you think he gets up for all the teams that passed on him? I mean, Alex Smith was taken number 1, and a bunch of teams passed on Rodgers. And I mean, it seems to happen every year, something like that.
Play in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. I think that's where he's from. He went to college in Cal. So, all right, Cage, let's wrap this, because now we're just rambling, and I'm looking at your beautiful face that's not shaven.
It is beautiful now, isn't it? But yeah, man, this was a fun one. I'm going to go look at some Space Jam stuff, and I expect a whole bunch of messages from you guys about what we should do with my Harry Potter stickers when I get them from Oregon. Unless somebody has a vault and you just want me to transfer them into your vault, that would be so easy. You have a vault?
Things a vault. Like, I'm picturing just a closet with a lot of padding.
You think the PWCC vault is just a closet with some styrofoam on it?
Yes.
You never know, man. You never know. I doubt it, but you never know.
Some posters of like Michael Jordan where they're throwing tacks in it, or the Portland Trailblazers sure better than you, something like that. That's what I'm picturing.
Hey, you never know. So, any parting words? Any parting words? Tomorrow is Star Stock, everybody. So if you got any questions for that, let us know. Maybe we'll try to work some questions in. We'll try to answer some questions on that. We got some updated data from Star Stock came in today. So lots of fun stuff. We'll be able to share with you some Star Stock firsts. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. We love you.